talk about now then with Sreeram Chaulia, Dean of the Jindal School of International Affairs in India, joining us live on the line. Hi there, thanks for being with us. As I say, lots to talk about diamonds, but energy is also on the agenda, isn't it? That big nuclear deal. What's that going to mean for both countries, first of all? This big deal there for the nuclear power plant, but also 12 more, maybe, courtesy of Rosatom.
Yeah, India is power starved, and we are trying to diversify our basket of sources beyond fossil fuels, and it is quite welcome. The Russian assistance has historically always been with us on nuclear energy, and I think it's a very ambitious plan to have 12 new reactors to rev up more electricity as the Indian economy grows. So I think it's a huge contribution. Russia has always been with us on building our capacities, and right now, given that there is an economic recession in Russia, given that India is growing, I think there's a lot in the Indian market, the potential in the civilian sector that needs to be tapped. And I think President Putin and Prime Minister Modi have today struck the right notes by talking about this whole diversified range of sectors in which we can cooperate beyond the defense, which of course remains a cornerstone.
So it's a win-win situation at the right time then, as far as both countries are concerned, by the looks of it. When you look at the figures, the trade at the moment between Russia and India stands at just about $10 billion. It sounds a huge amount, but when you look at it world-wise, it's not. That can be significantly improved on, can it?
We are targeting $15 to $20 billion in the next few years. We have been slow in creating preferential treatments for companies on either side. And I think we need to clear a lot of these log jams, like non-tariff barriers that have held back the bilateral trade potential in the past. But I think now, the vision is there because Mr. Modi wants, Russian investments, and Indian companies are also eager to invest on the other side in Russia and to tap the potential, especially with energy and infrastructure. So, and even civil aviation, pharmaceuticals, you name it. I mean, there's so much complementarity between our two economies. It has not been realized well in the past. We have neglected it, and now is the time to go defense plus. I would say don't ignore the defense sector, but do defense plus and diversify. And that's how we can actually make it a stronger relationship. Because if you look at India's ties with China or with the United States or other great powers, it's pretty diversified, and it should be that way. And I think it's high time that we do it. Now there's a momentum behind the Eurasian Economic Union that President Putin is pushing for. And I think India wants access to the 170 million consumers of this new customs union, which is going to be inaugurated next year. So all these mean that Russia is never faded away, but it's actually becoming more important for us. And conversely, I think India and China will be the centerpieces for President Putin's pivot to Asia as a retort to the Western sanctions on Russia since the Ukraine crisis began. So I think we are talking about a Russia-India axis with a more contemporary tenor and a more current needs-based approach, because right now both of us need each other far more than before.
Yeah, and of course maybe a place to sell energy to in the future as well, to diversify Russia's sales away from the West if they don't want it or they don't want the pipelines. Looking towards India, looking towards Asia, Russia's saying, can we sell our energy to you as well?
Absolutely. There is this north-south corridor, international north-south corridor, transport corridor, which if we can work out is going to bind India and Russia closer, especially through gas. So nuclear energy is just a small part of India's energy mix. Gas can make a huge difference, or much bigger. And I think if we can work out the transit routes, the pipelines, the shipments, there's immense potential for Russian gas to also reach India, just as it's now making headway to in China.
All right, Sreeram Chaulia, Dean of the Jindal School of International Affairs of India. Pleasure to have you on the programme. Thank you, sir.